For the first time, the billionaire's wife took a taxi, only to realize she had just $18 on her phone. She glanced at the meter and saw it had already reached $17. To avoid being unable to pay the fare, she quickly asked the driver to drop her off halfway. She then walked home in a rather embarrassing state. When she arrived at the mansion's gate, she looked at the multi-million-dollar house but had less than $20 in her pocket. This thought made her very angry. Just then, a little boy threw a small stone at her. Thinking the boy was bullying her too, she went to teach him a lesson, but the boy said he didn't want her to be his mom anymore. Hearing this, she was stunned. It turned out that right after graduating from college, she married the CEO of a company. However, the CEO had no feelings for her. Since their marriage, he often stayed out all night and treated her like a maid. He even brought a malicious woman home to provoke her. In desperation, she threatened the CEO to win him back, but he ignored her pleas. Unfortunately, she accidentally fell down the stairs and lost 5 years of her memory. When she woke up, she thought she was still in college and hurried to get dressed for class. But as she turned around, the CEO and his bodyguards blocked the door. Not knowing the CEO was her husband, she asked him to let her go. When he refused, she punched him, giving him a black eye. Later, the malicious woman came to the hospital and scolded her for hitting the CEO. She ignored the woman, who then claimed that if she had married the CEO, none of this would have happened. Hearing this, she immediately decided to divorce the CEO and let the malicious woman take her place. The CEO, not indulging her, followed her to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce certificate. However, there was a 1-month cooling-off period for divorces, so she had to return to the mansion. As soon as she entered, she saw the CEO's son holding the malicious woman's hand, asking her to be his mom. The boy thought his actions would get her attention, but she simply wished them well. Both were stunned by her reaction. Meanwhile, the CEO, just out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, confided in his best friend. The friend was shocked to hear she wanted a divorce, as she had always been obedient to the CEO. He decided to call her to ask why, but she hung up as soon as she heard it was about the CEO. The CEO was dumbfounded, not understanding why she had suddenly changed. When the CEO returned home, he habitually looked for his slippers but couldn't find them. He remembered how she used to wait for him at the door, no matter how late he came home, but he had never treated her well. Feeling guilty, he went to bed. The next morning, she made breakfast for herself. When the boy woke up and asked where his breakfast was, she told him to make it himself. The boy ran to the CEO to complain, but she stood up and ignored the CEO. She packed her bags, ready to leave the CEO and start a new life. She went to her friend's house, and to celebrate her newfound single status, her friend took her to a party. Meanwhile, the CEO received a call from the kindergarten teacher, saying no one had picked up his son. Furious, he called her to scold her, but she was at the party and didn't hear the phone. The CEO had to pick up his son himself. When they got home, he found she had left. The boy told the CEO he was hungry, but the CEO had never cooked before. He called his assistant to bring food. While waiting, the assistant called to say she was at a party. Hearing this, the CEO suddenly felt energized.